powerful winds, heavy and wet snow. A powerful nor'easter has hit the state. Good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah Deneen. We have team coverage for you tonight, and I believe that we are kicking off with Jess Connolly tonight. And there she is now,
Hello.
our team all over the state. Hey, Jess, what's the latest?
Hey, some people are outside. We get to be in here. But let's talk about what's happening with this storm now. Latest updates are along the coast. It has changed over to mainly snow in southern Maine, and the mid-coast starting to change over to some snow as well. Down east Maine still seeing some rain. Little blip there in the radar. It kind of cuts out. But we're still seeing this storm continue, and we have several more hours of snow and rain to go before this wraps up as we go into the day tomorrow. Low pressure system centered right about here. It's going to continue to move to the north and east, but you can see off to our west still more precipitation on the way for the next several hours and again into the day tomorrow. Acton coming in at just over 9 inches of snow. You can kind of go on down the list here of snowfall totals. And if you don't see your town, feel free to send it in and let us know how much snow you get, as long as you can do so safely, of course. Not all of these totals are huge numbers. However, a lot of the snow that's falling, that very heavy, wet snow, causing some issues tonight. And those temperatures sitting right around that 32-degree mark. Portland, we've been struggling to get any snowfall accumulation. We've been sitting at 34 degrees, I feel like, pretty much all day, 35 now in Bangor. It's not only the snow, of course, that's been an issue tonight. It's the wind, too. Check out some of these wind gusts. Bangor now gusting to 39. Same thing for Augusta. At last hour, Augusta was still gusting up to 45 miles an hour, gusting to 30 right now in Rockland, and Calais gusting to 36. So when you get that heavy, wet snow plus these very strong and gusty winds, of course, that's when we get power outages, which is what we've been seeing out there tonight. Mike right now is outside. He's been out enjoying some of the snow. Mike, what are you seeing right now in Portland?
Hey Jess, yep, I am out right now in Portland, and I am happy that I actually see some more impressive snowflakes here. The big key to this forecast was the difference in temperature, and I'm going to call a spade here. Not our best forecast for the coastline snow-wise amount, but we do have these bigger snowflakes moving in. There's some smaller raindrops that get mixed in every now and again too, and the problem with all of that is it leads to this. This isn't even really snow. It's more like just thick, heavy slush, which is the answer, of course, to not only the deteriorating road conditions that we've seen over the evening, but it also is the key to those power outages that we talked about earlier. And when you combine this slushy, heavy, wet snow with the wind gusts, you can see the snowflakes being blown around me right now. That is what ultimately leads to these problems. So I don't think we're going to hit those numbers that we originally said for coastal sections, but let's talk about where the forecast was a little bit better. Jackie Mundry right now is in Lewiston and will give us an update on what she sees. Jackie?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, we're here in Lewiston. As you can see, there's no lights on behind me. We're on Route 196, and it's pretty much pitch dark. There are no street lights. Looks like everyone's completely out of power. There are about 195,000 Mainers that are without power right now. And earlier today, I spoke to officials at both Central Maine Power and Versant, and they, want to tell Mainers that if you lose power, they're doing their best to restore it.
Oftentimes that snow combination with the wind can result in trees coming down and limbs coming down onto our power lines.
We are ready to go now if needed, but certainly we'd want to get through some of this really bad weather because it's hard to work and it's not oftentimes safe to work in these conditions.
So like I said, a lot of people without power right now. As far as the snow and the conditions, really that same heavy wet snow that we were talking about earlier, our meteorologists have been talking about all week. Feels like it's kind of slowed down, not a lot falling from the sky right now, and the roads look like they've been cleared up, which is good news, but still drive safely out there. But for now, I'm going to send things up to Herman Mountain where Sam Rogers is. Sam, what's going on up there?
Hey, Jackie, I think we may have lost Sam. If we get him back, we will certainly get to him later on. Now, what we do want to talk about tonight is the conditions in Norway right now. That's where meteorologist Mallory Brooke was tonight. She is the latest.
Snow combination with the wind can result in trees coming down and limbs coming down onto our power lines.
You know, we are ready to go now if needed, but certainly we'd want to get through some of this really bad weather because it's hard to work and it's not oftentimes safe to.
All right. And you know what? We are going to regroup. A few technical difficulties we're sorting out, but we will be right back with more storm coverage. Well, the wind is starting to pick up, adding to the mix of elements that we're seeing outside right now. Meteorologist Mallory Brooke is in Norway with the latest.
Hi, Hannah. Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of snow still here in Norway. We changed over about 11:30 this morning, and that's when we started seeing that snow come down pretty heavily. It took about an hour to stick, but since then, as you can really see, things have been sticking very well. The tree limbs have been hanging over. We've had to knock a lot of the snow down from our plants and shrubs just around our yard. Of course, everything's caked in snow, and the lights have been flickering, and many have lost power this evening as well. The big change since you saw me earlier in the evening is the wind. It has really picked up this evening, and we are seeing those winds gust 30-35 miles per hour here in Norway. Snowfall wise, we're about 6 to 7 inches. Really hard to measure because of the fact it's being windblown, and because it's so heavy, we're seeing compaction of it. So even though it's been snowing for hours, it doesn't seem like the snow is getting any higher on the ruler, and that's just the name of the game with such heavy snow. It's the latest here in Norway. Meteorologist Mallory Brooke, News Center, Maine.
Governor Janet Mills says she's tested negative for COVID-19. Governor Mills was tested on Thursday after she was exposed to a member of her security team who later tested positive for the virus. She has been in quarantine since last Tuesday. Meanwhile, cases across the state continue to rise. The Maine CDC reports that 283 more Mainers tested positive. There are now more than 2,900 active cases across the state. Officials also reported 3 more COVID-19 related deaths today. Those deaths were a man in his 70s from Waldo County, a woman in her 80s from Androscoggin County, and a woman in her 70s from York County. Now, today was not a day for folks in Portland to go on a Maine adventure. The Portland Rennies closed its doors on Friday through today after an employee there tested positive for COVID-19. The business posted on Facebook saying in part, "We do not feel any customers have been in close contact, and the employee last worked on Tuesday, December 1st. The store will reopen tomorrow," they say, after a thorough deep cleaning. COVID-19 ranked as the leading cause of death in the United States this week. Researchers at the University of Washington announced their findings on Friday. They say the number of COVID-19 related deaths within the last week was nearly 12,000. From the year, researchers project COVID-19 to be the second leading cause of death in the U.S. behind heart disease. Border Patrol agents arrested 2 men Thursday afternoon. Rumford police responded to a tip of 2 individuals and, after speaking with them, learned they were foreign nationals from Mexico. The officers found one had a fake identity and contacted U.S. Border Patrol. Border Patrol agents then arrested Adrian de la Cruz Alacron and Alfredo Esteban Vazquez, both charged with being illegally present in the United States. A person is recovering from severe burns following a New Hampshire apartment fire. Rochester Fire Department units rescued a man who has not been identified from the apartment and began providing medical care. Other units put out the fire. The man was transported to the hospital and then flown to a Boston hospital for further treatment. Disabled veterans will now have free access to national parks. The Wounded Veterans Recreation Act, introduced by Senator Susan Collins and Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, was signed into law today. It will ensure free, lifetime entry to U.S. national parks and other federal lands for all disabled veterans.
All right, obviously it's been a very busy day today. Snow continues overnight into tomorrow morning. We'll talk about the details when we come back.